Unfortunately, quarantine is the perfect environment to exacerbate so many people's struggles with binge eating, emotional eating, and mindless eating. You're already in hiding, right? So it's so much easier to eat in secret. Or perhaps for some people, it's harder to hide your issues from your spouse, for example. So as a result, the urges and the cravings get worse and worse and worse. Maybe you're bored, maybe you're stressed because everybody's living under the same roof. Maybe there's some fear and some anxiety in there. And so food is the perfect escape from these feelings. Maybe you're thinking things like, what's the point? I can't follow my workouts anyway. I can't follow my diet perfectly anyway, so what's the point? You know what, I'll make up for it tomorrow. I'll make up for it once all of this blows over. Maybe you're justifying it by saying things like, well, this is so trivial in comparison to everything else that's going on. But let's not trivialize it. Issues with food or your body are only going to make stress and overwhelm worse. For example, let's say that you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you scrutinize your body and you hate what you see and you're criticizing yourself, chastising yourself. Maybe there's some guilt or some frustration over what you did last night or what you've been doing this week. And perhaps there's some feelings of not feeling good enough thrown in there as well. How is that going to affect the way that you show up in everything else that you do in your life? With your kids, with your spouse, in your work? How resilient are you likely to be? How tenacious? How resourceful? How much of a creative problem solver are you going to be? How much energy or purposefulness are you going to have? How calm are you going to be able to be? The chances are there's going to be a lot of apathy, a lot of procrastination, a lot of stress and frustration. Perhaps you're becoming more and more distant with your spouse or struggling to actually be present with your kids. Or maybe you're struggling to be proactive or efficient and effective with your work. So binge eating makes stress and overwhelm worse, and stress and overwhelm make binge eating worse. They go hand in hand. They are part of the same problem. So a real solution that actually works needs to address both sides of the equation, both the habit itself and also the underlying emotional blockages and obstacles, things like perfectionism, overanalyzing, people-pleasing, overthinking, not feeling good enough, these kinds of things. So if the current climate continues for several months, as some people are predicting, then that's a lot of time to accumulate binge eating and chronic stress. So we have to face reality and ask ourselves, what condition do we want to be in on the other side of this? Physically, mentally, emotionally, in our relationships, in our sense of confidence or belief in ourselves, for rising to adversity or growing. So quarantine isn't an excuse to bury your head in the sand and ignore these issues. In fact, if you ignore any of your destructive habits, whether that be things like binge eating or being quick to anger or taking things out on your kids, then ignoring those issues is only going to make those things worse. Why? Because the message that you are sending to your brain is that whenever things get stressful enough or difficult enough or inconvenient enough, it's okay to violate your own values and to break these promises to yourself. So of course, it becomes easier to do it again and again and again. You're setting a new standard that you tolerate for yourself. This is also why excuses like, just this once, and I promise, this really is the last time that I do this, never mean just this once, never mean this is the last time, because you're setting a standard that you tolerate from yourself. So we all have a massive opportunity to grow in the current climate. How is it that you develop physical strength? By doing tough workouts. So how do you develop mental strength? By doing tough workouts. So guess what? Life is giving all of us a tough workout right now. And you can either look it dead in the eye and say, "What's this?" Or you can hope and wish that it were easier, that somebody else could fix it for you, or that circumstances are going to change for you. But as they say, the lesson will repeat itself until the lesson is learned. So let's all take this opportunity to learn, to grow, to adapt, to overcome, to break through. As we often tell our clients, the worst time to face your issues is the best time. So be proactive, take massive action. And if you decide that you can't figure it out on your own, then get help. But whatever you do, don't sit on the sidelines hoping and waiting and wishing and wanting. Now, we have a whole bunch of completely free resources to help get you started and start making some breakthroughs in this area right away. And you can access all of those resources within our free Facebook group called Chase Life Official. That group is set out kind of like a membership site with modules for you to work through and free downloads. There's also a link to a 45-minute presentation that we've provided for you. So that group you have to apply to be invited in, but go ahead, go to Chase Life Official in Facebook and you can get started on all of this stuff right away. Now, in addition, if you so choose, you can also get yourself a copy of my book called Think Straight, Lose Weight. It's available on Amazon. You can download it right away on Kindle. So go ahead, take whatever action it is that you decide, but recognize that this could very well be the best time, perhaps the most important time, to actually do something about these issues. Not only to overcome these issues, but also as part of the complete package of fixing these issues, to grow into a version of you that is able to move through these times of uncertainty with the calmness, with the resilience, with the confidence that you need.